Now, I wanted to commemorate the belated release of Dream Theater's new album with a track-by-track review. And the reason because belated is because it came out yesterday, but I was too lazy of a bitch to actually review it yesterday. And so now that I have decent amounts of free time today, I decided I would do the track-by-track review. But before I do the track by track, I wanted to talk about the actual thing in its entirety, because there's many things to say about the album, and it was supposed to be this kind of pinnacle turning point because Dramatic Turn for me made absolutely no sense. I think it was the absolute wrong direction from Dream Theater to be headed, the Dramatic Turn. Now, my perspective on this is I was kind of a late Dream Theater fan. I got into it during the Octavarium phase. That was my very first Dream Theater album. And for me, every single song that I've listened to, which is every single one Dream Theater has ever released in any sort of way, no song/album compilation has come to beat Octavarium. And of course, this one, they came out yesterday officially, but I've had for a week. It doesn't quite get to Octavarium. There's a few very good things about the album that make it somewhere in my top 3-4 range, but it just there's too many things that I still don't agree with on the album for it to be my favorite. For me, the number one thing that I don't like about the album and the whole Dramatic Turn and Dream Theater phase is that they try too hard to break up the flow of the music. Ever since Falling into Infinity, in a way, all of Dream Theater's music has made very logical and flowing sense. Even a song like The Dance of Eternity, which has like 230 different time signatures switching one after the other, even a song like this, it still flows good. You can understand the melody and you can hum it back to yourself. It's really catchy. The Dance of Eternity has one of the best melodies ever made, and even though it's in a constantly shifting time signature, still keep up with it. The thing I don't like about Dream Theater now is the fact that it feels like they're trying too hard to break that. It feels like they're writing normal riffs, but then adding in random eighth/quarter notes to the melody to add that sort of dissonance to it. This makes sense. It's like someone comes up with the most brilliant melody in the world, but screws it up with a dissonant melody that doesn't make too much sense. And so that's the sort of thing that I don't exactly enjoy about Dream Theater's new 2 albums, I guess, with Mangini as the drummer. I feel like they've gone overboard. They've been trying to write a good example of this as Outcry. I absolutely despise that song from start to finish because they take a decently good melody and they ruin it with one overload of odd time signatures and not that great of lyrics. And lyrically, I don't think this album is that much better than Dramatic Turn. For me, that one it's the worst the Dream Theater has had ever. And so the lyrics and the overboard amount of odd time signatures is still what sets me off this new album. Fuck's sakes. So where was I? Odd time signatures? What sets me off the album? That's what I don't like. Everything else about it is quite good. There's 3-4 standout songs that I would like to really acknowledge that I think are very good. But there's still songs that don't make sense. Out of the 9, I think 2 or 3 should really be changed a lot, because they kind of ruin the album in a way for me. But it's a good statement. Out of the songs that are the standouts, I think Dream Theater makes really good statements for who they are. That's what they wanted to do. They self-titled this album because they thought that this was their best collaborative work of all time. I don't agree with it, but you might, so let's get to the songs. So starting off, number 1 is the False Awakening Suite. I'm not going to bother naming the 3 parts to it because that's one of the 2-3 songs that I really think should be changed or removed off the album. The False Awakening Suite, I understand Dream Theater's motives to write a track like it. They wanted some sort of introduction to their concerts that was their own, because they've been using Psycho, they've been using Inception, they've been using all sorts of stuff to introduce their albums, their concerts. But it seems like that song is so badly out of place in the album. You hear the ending of False Awakening Suite and you're like, yeah, and then the Enemy Inside just comes and hits you. Oh, it sets up the album in completely the wrong way, and how I wish that song was not on the album. It pisses me off. I feel like they wanted to do something so badly, and it feels like they got sort of desperate to make the album slightly longer than it was. It's 68 minutes in total. It's not that long of an album comparably to others, and I feel like they got desperate. Hey, let's add 3 more minutes to the album with this crappy intro. And why? It makes sense. It has sort of that cinematic-y, dramatic feel to it, but at the same time, it's not a good introduction to the album. It doesn't have that sort of feel that Overture did. If you remember Overture from 6 Degrees, that song had real introduction value. It took the melodies from the album and combined them into one 6-minute track that expanded. It's kind of like the Big Bang happened, where that singular point was Overture, and then it exploded into many directions, and that's what 6 Degrees turned into, a 42-minute epic of awesomeness. Still one of my favorite Dream Theater tracks. But this introduction, honestly, I don't even think it's worth their concerts. I personally think that the music they've been using before is better than what they wrote now, and the introduction itself is all over the place. The melodies don't exactly seem to fit in, and especially it's not the right, I think, string sound. Definitely not the right string sound for Jordan Rudess. It has, especially when you hear those last notes, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. You have to listen to the album to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not going to spoil any of the actual music for you, because if you're going to listen to the album for the first time, go ahead and do it, just not with my help. But it feels like that intro was way out of place, and that's the song that I would like to just completely remove from the album. That's why whenever I start listening to this at school or something, and I listen to it all the way through like I do because I'm a no-life loser, I start with the Enemy Inside because I don't enjoy listening to the False Awakening Suite. I don't. It's not a good track. So, the Enemy Inside, that is one of the 3-4 standouts of the album. It's kind of like any music that I've really listened to that I've absolutely loved. It takes me a few goes at listening to the song before I can understand its sheer incredibleness. I guess there's many classical pieces that I listened to for a while that I didn't understand, and now I realize, now that I've listened to them many times, I realize that they're brilliant masterpieces. A good example being the Prelude in C-sharp minor by Sergei Rachmaninoff, if any of you know this. The first few times I listened to that piece, I didn't understand it, and now it's like, this is brilliant. And that's how I sort of feel about the Enemy Inside. It's different from what you expect from Dream Theater. It's an aggressive, powerful attack track. It's definitely there to get you with its speed, not exactly speed, but intensity. But also what it has is an extremely catchy chorus. You really don't want the thing to end when it ends. And I absolutely love how the last chorus has a different feel compared to the first two. And then the song ends itself with just a slap in the face. It just spat all over. It ends with just a big punch in the face sort of thing. And I absolutely love the ending to that track. And in addition to this, I very much like the different transitions and the different solos that happen in the song, and I think the guitar solo is really well done. And even though I still feel like it's a little overboard without time signatures, now that I listen to it enough, I can count through it, I can air drum it, I can keep along with Mangini's parts when I drum, but I still can't replicate them perfectly. I can keep up with them because I understand the numbers behind that song. So now I don't really mind the odd time signatures. Now I don't exactly mind the odd time signatures behind it because they're more understandable and they work better, I guess, for me. It makes it a more complete track, and now I can't exactly imagine it any way different than what it is. But still, it's a very, very good song. Nice, aggressive, powered drive with a very catchy chorus that you don't want to end, and with a big punch to the face as a finish, with a few nice keyboard and guitar solos in between. One thing I wanted to add is that John Petrucci was right when they were doing the making of the album, because he said his guitar would sound like chocolate cake, and it bloody hell does sound like chocolate cake. If you listen to it enough, it has that rich, creamy body and with the right amount of icing on top when you hear the top notes, and where the bottom notes growl just a little bit, where you still feel the power instead of just feeling bass like Dre Beats. Don't listen to Dream Theater and Dre Beats. So 3, The Looking Glass. It is a sort of half standout thing. I mean, it's a very good track, and you can definitely hum it back after you heard it. And it's nice and short, and it's nice and to the point, I guess. There's not too much insanity going on in that song, even though there's still, as every song on this album, too many odd time signatures. It very much reminds me of Images and Words. Because the snare drum is one of the worst that I've ever heard, which is another deficit of the album, it feels like it's triggered just like Images and Words. The sound of the drums especially is so close to that album, and the guitar riff itself, it's this nice little, it's not metal, it's like this nice major rock riff, and it's the more you listen to it, the more you realize that's what Images and Words sounds like. That's identical, except it still has that modern Dream Theater feel to it, and I like it, but at the same time it feels wrong because of odd time signatures. There's one thing I really wanted to add. There's a part in the middle that I absolutely love where Labríe's doing his high-pitched kind of chorusy stuff, and then the guitar is hitting nothing but harmonics, and that part is really, really nice. I love how that's done. And yeah, there's not much to say about that track, except for the fact that it's Rudest Fest, and I feel like this entire album is more Rudest Fest than any other album that Dream Theater's done, because really there's so much Rudest, you're gonna be sick of him. No, you won't. Rudest is the best. Enigma Machine. I think the track should be renamed to Weight Loss Machine, because you'll lose some weight the first time you listen to the song, because especially the motive itself, the feel that the song puts on, is one of the most brilliant things that I've ever heard in my life. The intro with the keyboards, if you listen to it through a phone speaker or very bad headphones, then you won't know this. But I listened to the album through my isolation drum headphones, which have an amazing sound quality in them too. You'll hear the little echoes in the background, and the intro itself and the music itself has a very good feeling setting. Especially the main guitar riff when it kicks in. It has that spy kind of mysterious theme, and it keeps it up all the way through, and that's what I love about the song. What I don't love is what they did to the middle section, where again they've overloaded with oddities and not very clear things. The drumming may be contributing to it, because the guy picks odd patterns for possibly normal time signatures. I can't tell, because there's just so much weird stuff happening in the middle. You can still hear the melody, I could still hum it back, but I feel like it's overboard, and that's the one deficit of the song. It may be Dream Theater's best instrumental yet, if not for that little middle section, which once again makes Hell's Kitchen my favorite Dream Theater. Did I just say that? Dance of Eternity. By the way, there's a part at the end where you're really gonna poop your pants, where I know Mangini is a more technically sound drummer than Mike Portnoy was. I just don't like what he does with the band because of just the insane amount of number work that he does. In the interviews, they were saying, yeah, he's got a math head. If you do 7 bars of 10 and then you do 4 bars of 7, it'll sound really cool. And they're like, yeah, it sounds cool, but I don't need 10 bars of 7. I need 100 bars of 4. That's what I came to listen to. I mean, obviously Dream Theater's going to have their little odd time signatures, but I feel like Octavarium again was the best equilibrium between them. It was the best mix, and I feel like that's what they should be striving for instead of what they're doing now. And that's the deficit of something. But again, Mangini, that one part, he's like, yeah, I'm good. So the bigger picture, it's another album standout. It's the third, I guess, because The Looking Glass really wasn't. It's got a very nice, it's got a very nice mellow melody to it, and it feels like it flows from start to finish really well. It's got a really nice chorus to it again, and if anything but the odd time signatures, it would be a really good song. Especially in the beginning, you hear, as soon as the first notes hit, you hear the drumming. Instead of doing a simple like two-step thing, just a simple 4/4 beat, he adds that little added 16th note or 8th note or whatever, because I don't know the score. It ruins it automatically. I really don't like that. I wish they hadn't done that. I wish they had taken that song, taken out every single odd time signature, and then that would have been almost an identical copy of Withered for me. It really is. It's a slightly longer track. It has more developments to it. It's not kind of like that bridge, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus type of feel that Wither has. But it's still kind of that feel where it has it has the major melody, but at the same time it sort of has an upsetting type of feel to it. And it has a very nice catchy chorus, but it's just not getting there because of the twists and turns that are in the song. And I feel like that sets me off it a little bit, but still, very good, solid track, and very nice string work and very nice guitar work in that song. And I love the harmonies that are put with the vocals into the chorus. All that is very nicely done. So, standout track from the album, The Bigger Picture. Behind the Veil, it's not a standout, but it's still a very good track. The introduction, Jordan Rudess talked about this a little bit, where he used an instrument called a seaboard. It's interesting. I won't say that it's the best. I'll say that it's a change. It's not what you hear on the rest of the album because it's a different instrument. It's cool though. It's interesting to listen to that sound, and then the song kicks in. And what I love about the song itself is that it starts off with this nice heavy, quoting John Petrucci right now, Metallica type of riff. It doesn't sound like Metallica to me, but it sounds like a lot maybe like newer Avenged Sevenfold, and it's a nice riff, and I feel like it's a very good counter point, I guess, to the chorus, which is a very nice. It's not as nice as I would say The Bigger Picture is. It's still kind of catchy, but it's got a very nice melody. But I feel like the best part of that song is the contrast between the heavier, minor, kind of aggressive pentatonic guitar riff. It's a very nice contrast between that and the chorus and the little bridge parts that are in between the verses. And I feel like that's a solid track, not a standout, but well done. Age of Reason, a track I feel should be removed off the album or changed. I don't like it, especially the intro to the song itself. Makes absolutely no sense. The song itself, it progresses and becomes better over time, and it's got a very nice melody line to it, especially through the verses and choruses. Bridges are exceptions. They're not really that good, but especially the intro to that song really sets me off. It's got the right sound. It's got some little John Mayung highlights in there. It's very rare that you get to hear John Mayung do his stuff separately from everyone, but that's what happens. They said that it was their first thing that they wrote when they came in January and did the album, and I feel like it's arguably almost as bad as the False Awakening suite. I don't agree with that track. It's kind of like that track that's very forgettable, where you listen to the album and you listen to it and you finish the song and then you listen to the next one and you forget how the one before goes. I've listened to the track in the album numerous times from start to finish, and right now, besides the chorus, I couldn't really sing you much of it because it's so forgettable. It doesn't stand out from the rest of the songs because it has a very similar sound to it, and it's at the same time there's too many oddities for you to be able to remember it. It's not a track that makes sense for me, and so I wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily keep it. If I could make a 50-minute album out of those 68 minutes, those two are the first songs that are going good by. I said Age of Reason. It's Surrender to Reason. You got down thinking Black Sabbath references. Yeah, if you could cut those out, Surrender to Reason and False Awakening Street get cut first. It's like you're cutting for a sports team. You two are gone. Out. See ya. Adios. Along for the Ride, it's a very conflicting track. It's sort of a standout, but at the same time, it's like Looking Glass. It's a very nice break between the sort of heaviness that the first bit of the album gives you to the Illumination Theory. It's a very nice little transition piece. It works really well. There's, I feel like the lyrics on the song could have been done a lot better, and I feel like if the lyrics would be improved, it would be a standout, because the melody is there, the drumming is there. This song is the least odd of the songs on the album. It's very flowing and it's very well done. I feel like the sound for the keyboard solo is the wrong sound. If he could keep that melody but change the sound, it would have been brilliant. And the verse itself and the chorus itself, everything is very well done. It's just that's not a standout track because there's things that conflict with it. It doesn't match the feel of the rest of the album, I guess. In this case, it would be a standout because it doesn't match the feel of the rest of the album, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it fits in very well. I feel like if it was placed differently, it would have been a better song, except its position works, but at the same time, it doesn't work because it sets up Illumination Theory well, but it doesn't work with the songs that come before it. And so I feel like it's a very well done track, and it's got a nice, beautiful guitar melody to it. It's nice acoustic-y, and I like it. And the drumming is very well done on that song too. Lyrics need to be improved. The song positioning needs to be improved, and then it's a brilliant, brilliant track that's somewhere within my top 15, 20 Dream Theater tracks. I would say that The Enemy Side is it's around number 9, 8, 10, that kind of 8 to 10 range, because my top 7 are just decided. Thanks to Elimination Theory, which is next. That song is a feels fest. If you could rename Enigma Machine to Weight Loss Machine, you could rename Elimination Theory to Tears Theory, because it's a superb song. For me, it doesn't come as close to Octavarium as the pinnacle of of progressive metal. It's not. It's close, but doesn't quite get there because it doesn't flow as much. There's still parts of the song that have those stupid odd-time signatures, but it's such a brilliantly done track. It has things that Dream Theater epics haven't had before. It has a hidden track tacked onto the end of it. The actual song ends around 18 minutes-ish. That's where the actual song ends. And it has a little hidden track that's kind of a relaxational ending. I don't feel like that's the correct way to end the entire album, but I feel like it may have been a separate song in itself, because I don't like albums ending on a fade out of a melody. That's not what I like to hear. I feel like the best endings of albums for Dream Theater have come from their past 4 or 5. Actually, no. I want to rephrase. I want to take that sentence absolutely out of the equation. The best endings to Dream Theater's albums would definitely be considered Metropolis Part 2. A Train of Thought misses out a little bit because, again, it fades out of the melody. It's a very nice ending because it sets up Octavarium, but it would be there if not for the melody fade out. Octavarium, obviously, and Systematic Chaos, which has the brilliant album ending. Also, Black Cloud ends really well, but the thing is, the album isn't really over until you hear the covers that they've done, which don't end the same way as the album does. But anyways, away from the endings, I feel like the song itself is very well done. The lyrics could be improved. They could be done better. There could be more lyrics, but at the same time, it's a very nice change from massive Dream Theater epics because there's things that other Dream Theater epics don't have. If Octavarium has that bit in the middle, in the very beginning of the song where it's like Pink Floydish, then Illumination Theory has that in the middle where it fades out and it does like kind of electric sounds, similar to the ending of the Count of Tuscany a little bit. It has those kind of electronic sounds where it's all calm and quiet, and then you close your eyes and just imagine things. And then the strings that Jordan Arudis wrote, I have mad respect for that guy, man. He is half the band right now, in my opinion. I feel like John Petrucci and Jordan Arudis are the band right now, because Jordan Arudis, the melodies he wrote for that song are just superb. The string melody that the song opens up with is insanely well done, and then it repeats itself in that middle. It doesn't come back instantly, but it repeats itself in that middle string only section, performed by whatever. Apparently, it's recorded by some person named Aaron and whatever string ensemble they have, but it's amazingly well done, and I feel like that's a thing that Dream Theater never had in their music. Solo string section, that I feel like that is a very good part of the song. And there's another part where it's like kind of a very nice chase theme to it. It's this kind of really fast and rocky part with the piano, and that for me is just a brilliantly done section of the track. It comes at you out of nowhere. You don't really expect it coming at you. And then it adds a very nice counterpoint to the rest of the song, which is more slower, I guess, if you will. But then the ending itself, the last bit of the song where it sort of brings back that melody, but then it doesn't really. And you kind of you wait for it to get there, but it never comes at you ever again. But just the harmony behind the vocals and the lyrics in that part is tremendously well done. And I feel like Illumination Theory steps into my number 2 spot of best pinnacle of Dream Theater ever. Just behind Octavarium, not quite there, but it beats the Count of Tuscany, which is an insanely brilliant track as well. And I guess with that said and done, there's a few things I could change about the song. Like the drum guitar pattern for the middle part that comes after the strings, I don't feel like that fits in really well. But once you listen to it enough and you understand that it starts to make a little bit more sense. But I feel like this track is the standout of the album, and Illumination Theory is definitely a feels fest, because you may be brought to tears with just the beautiful melody that comes at you in the middle at the end of the song. It's an insane track, and again, as I said before, it ends with that little hidden tacked on thing with the piano and guitar, and that's the end of Dream Theater's self-titled album. I feel like it's a good statement. It's a solid top 4 Dream Theater album statement. It's not quite there. There's things that I would definitely change about the album. There's things that I would remove from the album. But mostly the standouts that are on the album are very good, solid songs that fit somewhere between the top 10 and top 20. And definitely you should go and buy this, because Dream Theater deserves the money anyways. They're going to come at you live, and they're going to play songs from previous albums. They might even play Octavarium for you. You don't want to miss that. So buy the album, give them money, make them go on tour, then buy the tickets, and then go to the tour. That's all I can say, because Dream Theater is going to rock your town again with its just brilliant music. Can't stop loving this band even after 2 albums. Well, 1 album that I hated and 1 album that is changeable. But, yeah, that's my track-by-track review. Feel free to criticize me. Just criticize me well. And don't say you're shit, because, well, I'll say you're shit because your criticism is shit. So, I'll come after you.